Hello students, in this video we will try to understand the three types of component: inductor, transformer and switches, basically their types. The first one in the line is the third most important passive component used in electronic circuit, that is inductor. It can store energy in the form of magnetic field and deliver it as and when required. When electric current passes through a conductor, lines of magnetic flux are generated around it. This magnetic flux opposes any change in current due to the induced EMF. This opposition to the change in current is known as inductance, and the component producing inductance is known as inductor. The unit of inductance is Henry. The induced EMF is given by E is equal to minus L di by dt, where E is the induced EMF, L is the inductance, di by dt is the rate of change of current, and the minus sign indicates the opposition to the opposition which produces the inductance. So basically an inductor is a length of wire which has been coiled over a core. That can be, the core can be air, a free space, or it can be an iron rod, or it can be a ferromagnetic material. So that is what we will try to understand in the next part. So inductors basically is usually a coil of copper wire wound around a core made up of a ferromagnetic material as shown in the figure. The inductance L of the coil is given by L is equal to mu 0 mu r a n square upon L, where mu 0 is the permittivity of free space, mu r is the relative permittivity of core, a is the area of cross section, and n is the number of turns, and L is the length of the core. So basically inductance L depends upon area of cross section, number of turns and the length of the core. Next we will try to understand the basic classification of an inductor. The basic classification is fixed inductor and variable inductor. Fixed inductor, under the heading of fixed inductor we will try to understand air core inductor, iron core inductor and ferrite core inductor. As I said, there will be different types of core which will be available. The first one is air core inductor. The diagram, the specification or the symbolic representation as shown in the figure. In that, it is that inductor in which a coil of wire wound on a hollow former made up of ordinary cardboard. Since there is nothing but air inside of the coil, so it is known as air core inductor. It has least inductance for a given number of turns and the core length. In radio frequency application where low frequency inductance is required, air core inductors are used. The next one is iron core. As you can see, it has iron, laminated iron over which the wire has been wound. The symbolic representation is as shown in the figure. It is that inductor in which a coil of wire is wound over a solid or laminated iron core. Putting iron as a core inside an inductor increases its inductance. In order to avoid hysteresis and eddy current loss, iron core is laminated. That is, it is made up of thin iron laminated pressed together but insulated from each other. It is also called as a choke. It is used in low frequency applications such as filter circuits, power supplies, and there are number of various applications for iron core inductor. The third one is the ferrite core inductor. In this inductor, coil of wire is wound on a solid core made up of highly ferromagnetic substance called ferrite is used. Ferrite is a solid material consisting of fine particles of iron powdered embedded in an insulating binder. A ferrite core has minimum eddy current loss. Iron core inductors are not suitable for high frequency application. This difficulty is overcome by the use of ferrite core. The values of such inductors is in the range of microhenry to few millihenry. It is used in RF chokes, regulated type DC power supply, and in communication equipment. So this is the basic about fixed type of inductor. The next is variable type of inductors. In certain applications such as tuned circuit, it is required to vary the inductance from a minimum value to a maximum value. Ferrite core variable inductors are generally used for this purpose. In this inductor, a hollow former on which the coil is wound has screw threads are provided on the ferrite core, which can be screwed in or out of the former. Because of the change of the position of the ferrite core, the value of the inductance changes, and the symbolic representation and the actual diagram of a variable inductor is as shown in the figure. Next, we will try to understand what exactly we mean by mutual inductance. When two coils are placed close to each other in such a way that the expanding and collapsing or the change in the magnetic flux of one coil links with the other, and an induced EMF is produced in the other coil, then these two coils are said to have mutual inductance, which is given by M is equal to mu 0 mu r A N1 N2 upon L, where mu 0 is permittivity of free space, mu r relative permittivity of the core, A area of cross section of the wire, N1 is the number of turns of the first coil, N2 is the number of turns of the second coil, and L of course is the length of the magnetic path between these two coil. An induced EMF which is produced in the second coil will be E is equal to M di by dt. Again, where E is the induced EMF, di dt is the change in the rate of change of current, and M is the mutual inductance. So if di dt is equal to 1 ampere per second and induced volt is 1 volt, then of course M will be, that is mutual inductance will be 1 Henry. So if you state it, we say that two coils have a mutual inductance of 1 Henry if a current changes of 1 ampere per second in one coil induced 1 volt in the other coil. The next is coefficient of coupling. The two coils are said to be magnetically coupled if full or part of the flux produced by one coil links with the other. Closer they are, tighter the coupling between them. If no flux from one coil links with the other, then coupling between the two is zero. This coupling effect is measured in the term of coefficient of coupling given by small k equals to M upon under root of L1 L2, where L1 is the inductance of the first coil, L2 is the inductance of the second coil, M is the mutual inductance between the two coil. When the magnetic flux produced by one coil does not link with the other coil, then K is equal to 0. If all the flux produced by one coil links with the other, K is equal to 1. So this is the basic idea about the inductance. Now when the inductors are connected in the circuit, the combination can be series or parallel. The first diagram shows the series combination of inductor. It is similar to resistance. When inductors are connected in series, the mutual inductance will add up to each other given by the formula L is equal to L1 plus L2 plus L3. And if they are connected in parallel, when the parallel combination will be there, what happens, it is exactly similar to what happens when the resistance are connected in parallel. The formula will be 1 upon L is equal to 1 upon L1 plus 1 upon L2 plus 1 upon L3. Next we will try to understand the transformer. The transformer is a static device which transfers the alternating electric power from one circuit to another. The first two questions which arise in our mind is why it is a static device, and then how it generates same frequency. The transformer has no moving parts like in case of induction motor, where a rotating magnetic field, stator, shaft, all these parts are moving. That is, they have a rotating part to complete the process of power transfer. But in case of transformer, complete process of transfer of power is done without any rotating parts. That is why it is called a static device. And the transformer consists of two electric circuits and one magnetic circuits. These electric circuits are interconnected with only one magnetic circuit. So induced magnetic field in one will be transferred to another, and therefore the frequency of the power which has been transferred will always remains the same. Next is working principle of transformer. The transformer works on the principle of electromagnetic induction in the form of self-induction and mutual induction. We will try to understand both. The diagram which is shown in the figure is of a single coil, air core single coil. So now what happens is when current is flown through a coil, it produces a magnetic field. See, that is what is called as electromagnetic induction. The electromagnetic induction phenomena says if we supply alternating current across the coil, then alternating flux is induced across the coil. The magnitude of the flux is directly proportional to the current induced in the coil. Also, direction of flux is dependent upon direction of current. If we supply the alternating current across the coil, then an alternating flux is induced across the coil and generates EMF. We can understand the phenomena by using the right hand grip rule. The curls of the finger shows the direction of current, whereas the thumb indicates the direction of flux. So this is when we are talking about one single coil, when we are using a one single coil. In the next part, we will try to understand what happens if one more coil is placed very close to the induced magnetic field which is produced by the first coil. See, what happens is when a coil is placed in that particular zone where you have a magnetic field which will be available because of the first coil, and induced current will be produced, a current will be induced in the second coil which will produce an EMF across it. This phenomena is called as mutual inductance. So when two coils are placed, when current is flowing through the first coil, there will be a magnetic field which will be produced, and because of that magnetic field there will be current in the second coil also. If this entire setup is enclosed with a single say steel enclosure, what happens is all the flux generated in the first coil will be transferred to the second coil. There will be no losses. This is what is called as eddy's current loss. There will be no losses and the entire EMF will be produced across the output. The next part is understanding the working of the transformer. As I said, there will be a single core, a steel core which will be laminated properly, is placed, and there will be two electric field. You can see that input is applied at V1 and therefore the E1 is the EMF produced at the input, and the output will be the load. Where the output we have shown it as the EMF as E2. So what happens when the input is applied to V1? Current flows through the first coil. I1 is the current which is flowing through the first coil. And what happens if there is a current which is flowing through the coil? What happens is there is a magnetic field which will be produced, and in the same magnetic field we have enclosed one more coil which is from where the output will be taken, and when they are kept in a close proximity, the magnetic field which is induced by the first coil will provide current through the second coil, right? That current is I2. And because of the current which is flowing, there will be an EMF which will be generated, E2, which will drive the load. Remember, the direction of current in both the coil remains the same. That is why we said it will be of same frequency. The direction of current remains the same, but the amount of current depends upon the number of turns. Generally, the transformer which we use in laboratory purpose, the number of turns in the input side is more than the number of turns in the output side. That means it depends upon the laboratory requirement. We keep the output voltage and we design the circuit accordingly. We keep the number of turns. If you go by the basic formula of a transformer, it is NP upon NS equal to VP upon VS. That is number of turns in primary upon number of turns in secondary equals to voltage across primary upon voltage across secondary. So this is all about the working of transformer. The next which we will try to understand are switches. A switch is a device which is designed to interrupt the current flow in a circuit. It will make or break the flow of current. Every electrical and electronic application uses at least one switch to perform on and off operation of the device. So the switches are the part of control systems, and without it control operation cannot be achieved. Basically, the circuit shows the switch can perform two functions, namely full on by closing its contacts or fully off by opening its contacts. So it will be used for on and off purpose. When the contact of switches are closed, the switch creates the closed path for current flow, and hence a load consumes the power form. When the contact of the switches are open, no power will be consumed by the load. Types of switches, and depending on the mechanical switches and electrical switches. Mechanical switches required physical or manual contact with switch for operation, whereas electrical switches not required physical or manual contact. It has ability to perform operation. Electrical switches operate under the action of basically the semiconductor devices. Mechanical switches are of different types depending upon how they hold the current. It depends upon number of poles. The first one is single pole single throw SPST, single pole double throw SPDT, double pole single throw DPST, and the fourth one is the double pole double throw DPDT, and the fifth one will be of course an intermediate switch. As I said, the mechanical switches depending upon how they hold the current, it will be classified as latch switch and momentary switch. The latch switch holds its state whether on or off until the new command initiate this switch, and momentary switch holds the state only when the specific command is presented to them. Latch switch and momentary switch are of 8 types: push button switch, limit switch, pressure switch, float switch, temperature switch, toggle switch, rotatory switch, and the last one is joystick. The first one, single pole single throw, is is a name basic a toggle switch. The symbolic representation will be as shown in the figure. When you press the contact, the input will be transferred to the output to only a single output. The next one is single pole double throw type SPDT. These are 3 terminal switches. One terminal is used as input and the remaining 2 terminals are used as output. It joins a mutual terminal to one or other of the 2 terminals. The application of SPDT switch is mainly involved in a 3-way circuit to turn on and off a light from 2 locations, like from the top or bottom or a stairways. Next is double pole single throw switch. DPST switch consists of 2 poles. That means 2 includes 2 identical switches located on side by side. The switch is operated by one single toggle, which means that 2 discrete circuits are controlled at a time through one single switch. Last one is double pole double throw switch is equal to SPDT switch. It means 2 separate circuits connecting 2 inputs of each circuit to one of the 2 outputs. The switch position controls the number of way, and from the 2 contacts, each contact will be delivered. The intermediate switch is where 3 points control the same circuit. This is a very versatile switch and can be used for most lighting situation, but in reality is more expensive, so you would normally use it only when a specific application has to be carried out. This is when you have the three switches controlling one light. Push button switch. A push button switch is to make switch allow electric to flow between the two contacts when held in. When the button is released, the circuit is broken. The type of switch also known as normally open switch. Limit switch are used for controlling machineries as part of control systems such as safety, interlock, or to the count object passing a point. A limit switch is an electromechanical device that consists of an actuator mechanically linked to a set of contacts. When an object comes into contact with the actuator, the device operates the contact to make or break an electric connection. This type of pressure switches consist of C-shaped diaphragm. According to the pressure, the diaphragm is indicating pressure. These switches are used to sense pressure of air, water, or oil in industrial applications. This switch operates when pressure of system is increased or decreased from set point. Floating switch is a type of level sensor, a device used to detect the level of the liquid within a tank. The switch may be used to control a pump as an indicator, an alarm, or to control other devices. Next is temperature switch, which consists of a temperature sensing device like RTD and the thermostat. The switch operates according to the value of measured temperature. Next is toggle switch. This type of switch commonly used in household application to on or off electrical appliances. It has a lever by which we can move up and down on or off application. Rotatory switch. This type of switch is used to connect one line with one of the many lines knob of a multimeter channel selector. Range selector, metering device, band selectors, communication device are the examples of rotatory switch. This switches is the same as single pole multi-throw switch, but the arrangement of the switches is different. Next is joystick. A joystick switch is actuated by a lever free to move in more than one axis. One or more of the several switch connects mechanism are actuated depending upon which the lever is pushed and sometimes by how far it is pushed. The circle and the dot notation on the switch symbols represent the direction of joystick lever motion required to actuate the